Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to the movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it is going to be on Send Help. This movie is directed by Sam Raimi and stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. As Rachel McAdams plays a working lady who gets a new boss played by O'Brien, and he's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed when treating his coworkers with politeness. In fact, pretty much everybody in the movie treats Rachel McAdams' character, who's named Linda Liedl, as absolute garbage. She wants to become a contestant on The Survivor, and she somewhat gets that chance when her and Dylan O'Brien get stranded on an island after a massive plane accident where they are the only two survivors, and they end up on an island, and because no one is there to help them, pretty much Rachel McAdams starts going a little sadistic and making him do exactly what she wants to do in order for both of them to make it out alive. Now, last weekend I did not like either of the main big movies that came out. And that had me nervous that we were going to be back on the urge of bad January release movies. The bad horror, the bad action. And that would have been an absolute shame because I loved The Bone Temple, despite the fact that nobody's seen that movie. I do not know why. But at the same time, I was just like, okay, so we got two really good films, but now we're back in this territory. Do not, come on. That's why with a title like Send Help, that was a very accurate title because only this could save the rest of the month for me because, oh man, last January was a big surprise, and we're at the end of January, so I was just hoping to God Sam Raimi could deliver, even though he hasn't made any major original properties in quite some time. He's mostly just been doing adaptations, and of course, he did Multiverse of Madness, which did have his similar theme, but again, that was a Marvel film, so I was just hoping he would manage to deliver. And I am happy to report they sent help with Sam Raimi, and he definitely helped out a lot. In fact, this is easily his best film since Spider-Man 2, or even Drag Me to Hell. I would probably say Drag Me to Hell in terms of, his campy, horrific style. While I wouldn't really consider this much of a horror film, it is campy, but that's exactly what I love Sam Raimi for. Even Spider-Man had a lot of camp to it. And in terms of franchises that he's done, as much as I love the Spider-Man movies, or at least the first two, I've always preferred his Evil Dead trilogy. Not just due to the fact that I like all three of the movies, but because he was able to bring something original when it comes to the supernatural horror genre and adding a lot of humor and adding in very memorable characters that had so many witty lines of dialogue. Of course, Ash being the absolute show stealer since he's the protagonist. But of course, he managed to bring more of that when he did Drag Me to Hell after finishing the Spider-Man movies. And knowing the fact that he still has that same charm that he always managed to bring in terms of camp, it was a breath of fresh air to see him do something similar to that style with this film. I saw this with my dad. We were both having such a good time, and there were some other people there. Thankfully, nobody made a sound. They were just focused on the movie, and yeah, some people did chuckle from time to time, but I was actually able to focus and just live through the movie because this was a roller coaster ride of pure madness, and it's all thanks to Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They are terrific together in this movie. They have a very hateful yet somewhat of a caring-ish, well, caring is not really the word. They have kind of like a love-hate relationship throughout this movie because, of course, they're against each other, but at the same time, they do have to try to work together throughout the film because, of course, Rachel McAdams is pretty much doing like a little payback thing after the things that O'Brien has done to her during the beginning of the film. And I'm not going to go deep into spoilers or anything like that because I want you guys to experience this with an open mind. Because the decisions that they make in this movie, whether it's, trying to, manipulate one another or trying to help one another out, because of course, McAdams is the main star of the show and she, of course, does all these things to O'Brien, but of course, there are times in the movie where they just have to suggest if they're really making the right choice with what goes on in the movie. Because, of course, they have to survive, they have to get food. It's something that we've seen in films like Castaway, but Raimi does it in a sense that feels all the more like if it were like a more brutal, bloody version of that and a more chaotic one. Instead of one man being stranded, it's two people. And this one is done in such a way that just feels like, it never slows down. I mean, sure, in the beginning, it does, have that sense of, setting up the film and what exactly to expect later on. Honestly, the beginning of the film kind of has like the same similar vibes as the beginning of Drag Me to Hell a little bit, given how the main character is supposed to be getting a promotion, but then things change. Yeah, it kind of has that similar vibe, but instead of it feeling like, a copy and paste movie that he's done before, just adding his name on it and just, adding things that he's done before into another movie, it does have that, but it's not a sense where he's going for nostalgia for his older films, but still doing his own thing when making this film. And of course, it is bloody, unlike Drag Me to Hell. I mean, Drag Me to Hell did have blood, but it was PG-13. This movie is full on R. They could get away with anything here, and it felt very good knowing the fact that Sam Raimi was going back to this style, to this R-rated style that we all know and love, and just not holding anything back. I mean, it's not as hyper violent as something like Evil Dead, but when the violence is there, it manages to deliver. It delivers on all the fronts of its humor as well as its horror, but it's a combination more on comedy and thriller and camp. It's all the ingredients that you would want for a Sam Raimi film. And of course, the humor. It is absolutely spot on. In terms of the lines of dialogue, there wasn't a time in the movie where I was just groaning. I was just having a great time with how much fun Sam Raimi was having behind the camera. It's clear that these people working on the movie were having a great time, working on the film. The way it's directed and the way the film is set up and the way that, characters communicate with one another, the fact that there is just so much when it comes to the humor, it just manages to, put a smile on my face the entire time. And it was just so satisfying to see Sam Raimi do this type of stuff again as he gets older. Even after doing multiple comic book films, he shows that he can still create things from his mind without having to feel like he needs to adapt from anything. Because that's what I love about his horror films. They're fun, entertaining films that aren't adapted into anything but made in his own mind. So, yeah, it was certainly great to see. In terms of issues I do have, I guess in terms of, like the last act, it wasn't bad by any means. It's just there's like a quick edit that kind of has me a little bit confused about what exactly happened during that one specific scene. That's I don't know. I can't get into spoilers because, well, of course the movie just came out and I want people to see the movie. And I guess there were some quick edits that kind of happened a little abruptly, but nonetheless, the movie does come together towards the end of what exactly it was going for in terms of some exposition that goes on throughout the film, because there is some twists and turns that happen and moments of unpredictability, and that's what I love the most about this movie. It manages to bring in scenes that feel like, okay, I kind of know where this is going. Like, there are some scenes that will have you squirming because it makes you feel like it's going to get all messed up, but yeah, the humor manages to land, the violence manages to land, it manages to feel like that same Sam Raimi film that I have come to want to see again, and it is so great to see him back. And in the end, guys, Send Help definitely helped out a lot in terms of bringing Sam Raimi back. It is a violent, crazy-ass, hilarious film that knows exactly where to tickle your funny bone when it needs to tickle your funny bone, and knows how to make you squirm when it gets very disturbing. It has elements that just have you thinking, yup, this is a Sam Raimi movie, and it's exactly the type of Sam Raimi movie that I love after, comic book films that he's made in the past. Because, again, I love Spider-Man. I love his first two Spider-Man films, but I've always preferred, when he went to, the campy horror route. Because while a lot of horror films have been starting to do that again recently, they have been going a lot more serious and have you thinking a lot more. Oftentimes, while you can think from time to time, you can still oftentimes just watch it for pure entertainment. And that's exactly what I love the most about this film and his films overall. It was so great to see Sam Raimi back in terms of this type of route. And yeah, welcome back, Sam. I just really hope people actually give this film a chance, because I don't know what happened with the Bone Temple. I still just I just still hope we're getting the next movie, because we don't know that yet. But yeah, but it's not doing so well. But hey, all that you need to know is that movie's awesome as well. This movie is as well. So yeah, will I be seeing Jason Statham's new movie Shelter? I don't know yet. I can't tell you this. I have seen Iron Lung, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to review that yet. I do mention it in my next monthly vlog, and this is usually the day where I would do the monthly vlog, but I'm seeing this movie a day late. I would usually see it Thursday, but my friends wanted to see Iron Lung on Thursday, so that's why I'm waiting another day to get this video out. But yeah, but anyways, yeah, we'll just see what happens. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.